everyone, and welcome to another Plim Talks book launch. I'm your host, P.L. McMillan Plim, and I'm here to celebrate Odd Jobs. This is an anthology of corporate horror, edited by TJ Price and featuring some beautiful authors who are here right now to join me in the celebration of consumerism and corporate horror. Yay! Welcome, everyone. I said welcome. You guys have to be happy.
Hi, hello, hey.
Oh, yes, welcome everybody.
The company motto is to be happy.
This is the hottest audience I've ever seen.
Yeah, I swear to God, I will fire all of you. So yeah, TJ, the editor and head of Inhuman Resources. Hello.
Hello. Good evening, Plim.
And oh yeah, absolutely. I'm obligated by my corporate contract to do these things. Yeah. And then we have 4 authors here, one of which will also be joining us. So we have ERIK McHATTON, JIANG, Ivy Grimes, and CARSON WINTER. And joining us later will be Caleb Stevens. 4 of the authors will be doing live readings. Ivy is here as the face of the brand. So we don't actually want her to speak because, you know, weird. But she's the face of the brand. So looking cute, Ivy, good job. Definitely going into your peer review. So yeah. Ooh, we got Scary Stuff podcast coming in now. So this is going to be a super exciting event, and thank you again for letting me host it. So we're gonna dive right in. Oh God, let's put a pin in it. Let's roundtable this. Just throw in all of that. Like,
God, this meeting could have totally been an email.
I know, right? Oh man. And I hate those. Or like when you're just like working and somebody's like, can we jump on a call to discuss it? And I'm like, an email is not going to suffice, you know?
I'll just circle back to that later.
All right. So we are going to start by just going over the book itself. This is really exciting. And not many people know this. I love corporate horror stories, probably because I've been working corporate jobs for ages now. So it really just is very satisfying to read this kind of stuff. So yeah, everyone make sure you're hyped in chat, and we're going straight to interviewing our beautiful head of Inhuman Resources, TJ Price, who edited this lovely collection or anthology. I always get those words mixed up. So TJ, are you ready for your interview?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, can you tell us why you feel qualified for this position? Just kidding.
I was ready to jump in there. I had a whole list of things.
I know you were so fucking ready to. Oh my God.
Man, I'm hungry.
You're hungry for this job. All right. Well, first, simple question. Can you tell us spoiler free about this project and the stories within?
Yes, I can. What I'd like to let everyone know, first of all, is that I have been director of Inhuman Resources for the company for, well, I guess time doesn't really matter anymore, does it? It's been a while. Usually I just kind of file the personnel reports, archive them, itemize their contents, you know, I don't really think about it too much. Every so often I'll get a request from upstairs to send them a particular file for someone or something going on like that. It's pretty rare, and generally it's pretty run-of-the-mill, but on this one occasion I got this request for 6 files all at once, which never happens. And couldn't help myself, I was a little curious, so I read them all. And they're horrifying. The stories in these accounts are horrifying. And I thought to myself, people should know about this. This is not normal, what is going on in the world. Like, how can we let this kind of thing stand? And so I compiled all of the accounts that they requested into one document, which I called Odd Jobs. And I managed to sneak it through a chink in the company's firewall. And there you have it.
Well, you know, we will have to put that in your own file for that infraction. Like, unfortunately, you are a large part of Inhuman Resources, so we can't quite fire you yet, but that is strike 1, TJ Price. That is strike 1.
That's all right. I assume I will accrue many of those strikes throughout the evening, as I believe my presence here is against company policy.
It is, actually. Not like I can talk. I mean, I wasn't, you know, yesterday I was working my normal job, and then today I woke up in a windowless basement room and told that I would be working for the company from now on as PR. So here I am.
I mean, I have this really odd feeling that I'm being watched.
All right. So the top dogs, the executives up above, they sent these requests for these six files. So can you go into more of how these employees were brought to your attention and why you thought their stories needed to get out past the firewall, directly violating company policy?
It's interesting because I've always been a company man. I mean, I've never had trouble with the company. I've worked here forever. And I just never knew how vast the company truly was. I had no idea how many subsidiaries were beneath their so-called umbrella. I mean, we have we have an oil corporation. We have a variety of office corporations that do, we don't know, something. It's very important, but there's something weird going on in that environment. We have a cleanup company for a quarantine that I don't remember happening, but at the same time, when I read the account, I had these really weird flashes of light in my head, and I kept thinking like someone was taking a picture of the inside of my brain, and like I didn't know what was going on. I just kept getting flashes of light. And then there's like a cell phone repair company involved, and there was something about a professor in a college environment, and there was a bookstore. Like everything just seemed so disparate. Like they didn't seem like they would be related in any way, except for the fact that they're all subsidiaries of the company.
Well, I mean, as you're just in charge of the personnel, and it's above your pay grade to know about these subsidiaries. So it was really not in your business to know.
I know.
But why do you feel like this theme is important to explore and share with people who haven't signed the necessary NDRs?
I I don't know. I just had this feeling. I felt like this is important stuff. Like people are going through hell in this company, working for this company, and I couldn't let that stand. I couldn't let
Hell
that.
is a bit of an extreme word, don't you think?
Have you read these accounts?
At the company, we believe that we are providing necessary services and jobs to an economy that has lately been struggling.
Struggling. Yeah, I suppose there's that. There is the financial problem that's going on, and there
If
are the price gougers and all of that.
Yeah,
So,
if people aren't going to be willing to clean up the mess that the world has come, like really, what are we but animals? You
we
know?
are animals.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the company has been treating everyone quite fairly.
It's true, and I did agree with you for a very, very long time until I read that the company and all corporations, in fact, once they are subjected to a traditional psychological test, they are technically considered psychopaths. If the corporation was a person, that
Hmm.
person would be diagnosed as a psychopath.
I feel like that's a harsh thing to say. I mean, realistically, emotions are what's holding humans back. So a company being a psychopath just seems really efficient, really, if you think about it. So yeah, I feel like there's a reason you might have been demoted to the basement level. Like I'm not trying to judge, but I think it's more, let's pivot this on its head. We could put a pin. We can put a pin in this, and we can talk about your commitment to the company values later. And how about we talk about the positives? What are you most proud of the company and these files? I mean,
Well, the way that the files are written by each of their accounts are pretty incredible. There's a lot going on in each one of these accounts, and the writing is so different from account to account, and each one is incredibly moving. And I've always, like I said, I've always thought of myself as a company man. I've never really put a lot of emphasis on emotion or feeling or art, but after I read these accounts, I felt a change come over me, and
that's
maybe
part of the
that was why.
problem. Yeah.
I mean, that might have been why I was subject to defragmentation and subsequent demotion. And, if I
Yeah.
start glitching out and weird things are going
Yeah.
on your screen, it's probably because there's another defragmentation happening, and I have no control over that, so I apologize. But I don't know. I part of me wanted to really seek these people out, the people behind the stories and the work and what was going on, to, I don't know, connect with them in some way. I felt personally responsible for their trauma that they had survived, and I wanted to let them know that they weren't alone in a certain way, and get their stories out there so that people could understand what they went through under the fist of the company. And so
I think what we can take away here, honestly, is that the company, through its work environments and assignments, creates a better, more resilient human employee. It's creating situations that, I mean, our Inhuman Resource employee, TJ Price, did say, like, you know, he was very moved by it. And if it weren't for the company, there'd be nothing to be moved by. I think we can all agree with that. Now, speaking of demotion, our late employee has shown up. So Caleb, if are you there? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is unfortunate that you are late. You will be taking a demerit. And so if you can go ahead and you know, share your face here.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, get your face up. Yeah, unfortunately, you will have to be demoted for being late. It's
I
very
can't run
unfortunate.
technology either. For some reason, my camera's not working. But hold on.
It wouldn't be a corporate Zoom meeting without this happening. Can you hear me? You're on mute, you know, stuff like that. It's just how it goes. So while Caleb tries to figure out how to get his face on, he has no face. Wake up, sheeple. I mean, it may be true. You could argue that all company employees are faceless, and honestly should be faceless, because the important face is that of the company. I think we can all agree with that one.
Agreed.
So, TJ, you know, you have been demoted. Hope you're proud of what you've done. What are you hoping that the masses, the consumers, will take away from this product?
many copies of the book.
Oh,
want-
good. The company loves that. Consumerism, yes. Buy.
Hail Mammon.
Yep.
Yes, I want them to understand that they're not alone out there in the world, and that we all have to work our day jobs, and we've all got, like, you know, crazy stuff going on in our lives, and, you know, they're okay. They're gonna do all right eventually in the end, if they don't get, you know, picked off by the company bit by bit. So what is it? No, don't let the bastards grind you down, I think.
Okay, let's not do offensive language. This is a company event now, TJ.
That's all right.
Okay. I think it's more accurate to say, don't, you know, let the company lift you up, right? You know, because the company is here to lift you up, maybe grind you up. I mean, it's all for the greater good, essentially. So, all right. Do our lovely consumers have any questions for the former head of Inhuman Resources at the end of this interview? Any questions? I think everyone's just very sus of Caleb, and, like, honestly, I think we can agree with that. Oh,
We should.
Jeff wants to hear the call center story.
Oh, the call center story.
Yeah.
All right, so breaking character for a moment. When I used to work at a call center a long time ago, and it catered to foreign car rentals. So specific make and model, luxury cars delivered to their villas, wherever they were in Italy and Europe, what have you. And it was big. It was a lot. It was a lot of stress. It was a lot of very entitled, moneyed folks. And I was treated very poorly there at that job, by both my coworkers as well as the clients. And I built up so much rage over a period of time that I concocted a scheme to cost them quite a bit of money, and then slowly implemented it over a period of months. And then one day, in the middle of the busiest season of the year, I stood up from my desk and I said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Y'all suck. I hate this place. I quit and walked out the door. I later found out that my phone name that I used there as my alias was then used as a verb for rage quitting. So I've made my mark
Nice.
in the corporate world in many ways.
Nice. Well, congrats, TJ, and hopefully you can continue to make a difference here for the company once you go through your attitude correction course at the end of the week.
I look forward to it.
Yes, as you should. That's the only way to respond.
I'm
So-
a recidivist, so don't expect too much.
So we are going to do our first giveaway. So TJ, do you want to list out what that is again while
Yes.
everyone hits us with those drums?
Drums. We want you to get
Yeah,
drums.
show us those drums, people.
Yes, the first giveaway will be a copy of Odd Jobs, 6 files from the Department of Inhuman Resources, accompanied by Soft Targets by CARSON WINTER.
Out now.
Out now. Yeah.
All right. Just hitting my wheel here. Okay. A Cyan LeBlanc. If I said that right. Cyan LeBlanc.
Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, congrats. So I'll write your name down here. I see your name in here, so I'm assuming you're good with your new prizes from the company. Obviously you have no choice, but congrats again. Winners, I will reach out to you after the event using the email that you used to register, and I'll put you in touch with Inhuman Resources, and they will send you out your swag and probably some sort of contract that you must sign. So I think it is time for our first reading, and for the life of me, I can't find where I put the reading list.
Fired.
Fired, I know. So I'm just gonna make it up because since I'm high enough in the company, I can just do that and no one's allowed to complain. You know, it just is that way. So we're gonna start with Carson Winter.
Oh shit.
Hello, Carson.
Hey, Plem, what's up?
Not too much. How you doing in this corporate world that you love so much that you've written 3 books about consumerism?
Yeah, I must really dig it, right?
Yeah, you must love it. So for those of you who don't know, Carson is absolutely into writing about the corporate life, consumerism, specifically like Soft Targets is about the grind of being in an office. Psychographist is about consumerism and products itself, and the idea of how marketing is used almost in a militant way to target people. And then the latest one, The Spectres Haunting Green Tree, which is a folk horror take on consumerism. So this is his wheelhouse, and that's why he'll be starting. He is the head of marketing here at the company.
Yes, and I'm so good at it.
Yeah, do you want to give yourself a little bio to introduce yourself to our new employees?
Sure. My name is Carson Winter. I am a author, punker and raw nerve. I have Soft Targets and A Spectre is Haunting Green Tree out from Tenebrous Press right now. Psychographist is out from Apocalypse Party Press. And I love doing fun projects with other cool writers. And that's was kind of part of the genesis of this project, was just gathering people who I really dig, whose work really inspires me, and putting something really fun together. So I'm so pleased to kind of see us at the finish line today, surrounded by people I consider, friends, whether I've met them in person or not. But all of them are continuous inspirations to me personally as a writer. Plem, were you going to say something? You going to call me out?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't invited, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, I only invited my friends that were good writers.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. It's all right. So, can you
I'm
tell
fucking
us...
with Plem. She's great. She's invited my next project.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So can you let us know the title of your file and what inspired it? because I know at least
Whoa, Clem.
Rebecca.
One more plug. One
I'm
more
not
plug.
done yet. I'm not done
One
yet.
more plug.
I'm not done yet. I'm
Okay.
not done yet. Rebecca definitely asked to know about the inspiration. So
I
but
will
go ahead
definitely-
and plug.
I was just gonna say, PL McMillan and I, we actually co-host a podcast together that comes out every fucking week. Every week on Wednesday. Yeah. And so if you love this dynamic, if you like us shitting on each other, if you like us talking about writing, if you are tired of talking to your spouse or loved ones about horror writing and instead want to form a parasocial relationship with two unsuccessful authors, I have the podcast for you. Dead Languages Podcast. It's on Spotify. We talk about dicks a lot.
I mean, not wrong. All
Okay,
right.
now onto the story shit.
Okay.
So the story is called In the Light of Their Bones, and it was inspired for me by the pandemic, the COVID pandemic that we all remember. But for me, what I remembered specifically was being an essential worker. I worked at a grocery store at the time. And what I was kind of seeing was a little bit different than other people because I was quite stuck in my job. I was not happy with my job, and I felt kind of like I was witnessing the class divide for the first time, really clearly, where I was seeing TikToks and things on Facebook where all these white collar memes of people like taking up board games and learning a new language during this really horrific time where they were, complaining about being stuck in home and getting paid and being able to pursue these hobbies. And meanwhile, I was stocking shelves on a grocery store, having to argue with people about putting on masks every day. And it was really frustrating to me. So this story kind of came out of that frustration of me imagining what it would be like to be one of those people quarantined and not wanting to come out of quarantine. So that was kind of the seed of the story. And yeah, I'll just jump right into it. In the Light of Their Bones. The two men in jumpsuits wore masks. They stood in the front of the high school gymnasium under dusty basketball hoops. Between them was a television strapped to a rolling platform. A sea of similarly masked people sat in folding chairs, waiting patiently for the presentation to begin. Jacob found comfort in these white surgical coverings because they made him look just like everyone else. Those in the front of the room said, "Pay attention. We'll answer questions after." And Jacob and the rest nodded as the television went from black to blue and then to black again, fading into an image of a man dressed in a lab coat, standing in front of a black void. He said, "Hello, welcome to your Clean Start orientation. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and you should. But first, we're going to tell you about our company values and what you can expect from your first week here." Jacob shifted uncomfortably in his metal chair. His eyes darted to the others around him to see if they too were uncomfortable. But the rest of them stared straight ahead. He could draw no conclusions in regards to whether they were more like him or more like others that were not him. The man on the TV said, "The osteoillumination pandemic, or OP, still represents a real risk to many people. But the good news is that the worst is over. Now that quarantine has ended, it is up to us to rebuild. Thanks to you, the new world will get off to a clean start." Jacob had not had a job in over a year. He had not gone outside his apartment for nearly as long, save for brief, adventurous traipses to the mailbox. His stomach turned. The man on the television adjusted his lab coat at the collar, a cocky action that somehow comforted Jacob. This man knows what he is talking about. He wouldn't act like that if he didn't. We know many of you are eager to leave quarantine and get back out into the real world. But it's important to remember that just because exposure is limited, it does not mean that the threat is eliminated. You can still be contaminated by bodies, even if you do not see the light from their bones, by exposing yourself to their flesh and blood. Of course, that's also why Clean Start equips you with state-of-the-art biohazard suits and comprehensive training before going out on the job. Jacob watched the safety instructions carefully, trying to memorize every detail. The hood was fastened, sealed. The gloves were thick and rubbery. Each suit was equipped with an internal temperature regulator so that workers would not be so eager to remove their gear. To take off the gear, you had to pass through a checkpoint that was maintained within 100 yards of all work sites, where the exterior of the suit would be decontaminated. At another checkpoint, another 100 yards away, this would repeat. On the third checkpoint, they would allow you to remove your personal protective equipment. Jacob held his breath as he imagined the stress of walking through each set of checkpoints. As bullet points appeared on the screen, he thought of running out of the room back to his apartment and never returning. Once again, he looked around the room. The others showed no signs of running. The scientist on screen smiled calmly. We don't have to be scared anymore. We have the power to go back to the way things were. And you have the power to make this dream a reality. Jacob's knee bounced nervously. His was the only one shaking. When the screen went black, he forced a smile until only he knew existed, as he wanted to seem as content as the man on the television. He dreamed of walking out into the night, glowing an electric blue, feeling his bones evaporate beneath his skin. Transubstantiation. He woke slowly, comfortably. Jacob turned his head around to his apartment where the curtains had been pulled tight lest any stray beams of light were to infect him. Of course, now, there was no need to be so cautious, but he kept the heavy black curtains pulled all the same because there was no reason not to. He stretched and yawned, finding his clothes where he left them on the floor. As the pandemic raged, he found comfort in this routine. He would get dressed, have coffee, eat breakfast, and read for an hour. Then, when noon hit, he would take a long shower. After, he would masturbate and then watch television or perhaps play a video game. Sometimes he would experiment with religion and pray to different gods, testing their powers and allegiances. It was a game he played with himself. But now, there was none of that. When the dread hit, getting out of bed was a momentous challenge. It was David and Goliath, but Goliath was a world so large and vast and cruel that it had no sense of David as it crushed him in his mighty hands. Jacob felt a lump in his throat that he hoped was cancer, but was unfortunately not. Then, a minute of extended paralysis later, he heard his alarm chime. It was 5 a.m, and he had to go to work. There was no time today to do any of the things he usually did, and acute anxiety jolted through his limbs. It felt wrong, and yet he was doing it anyway, because it was his job. People had jobs. They worked and did things, and in the wake of the pandemic, all other jobs were suspended. There was only one job now. He limply stepped into his Clean Start branded jumpsuit, zipping it up till the metal at his collar met with a click. Thank you.
Yay! We had some comments. Carson is the master of inflection, which was misread as infection. And I said
Beautiful.
It wouldn't be a Carson story without masturbating. Yeah.
True.
All right. So for our next story, we have ERIK McHATTON. That's right. Surprise. Bamboozled. ERIK is ERIK, what do you do here at the company?
I work in the daycare.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got to keep an eye on things, with your many eyes. Those
Yeah.
rapscallions all over the place. Will you introduce yourself to the new hires, please?
I'm ERIK McHATTON. I have written no books, several stories, and well, that's kind of it, really. I don't write anything these days, but I'm hoping to write more. I have a collection coming out next year.
I was
from
about to
Undertaker
say you have a
Books.
collection coming out. I was waiting. I was
Next
like,
year from Undertaker Books in September, and then of course Odd Jobs.
yeah. Rebecca is correct. The daycare is just a long training session for future employees. It is true. We get them young, so we can instill the
Absolutely.
values early, which is what Eric's in charge of.
Mhm.
Yeah, frequent contributor to Cosmic Horror Monthly as well, Eric. Don't forget.
Yes, absolutely.
So, will you tell us the title of your file and what inspired it?
The title is These Little Tyrants. What inspired it? Jumping off what TJ said earlier, I have a long thought that corporations in general should be regulated like separate beings from human beings. Like they have a mind of their own, and you know the needs and wants of corporations are very different from the individual. And yes, they would act like psychopaths. They are singular driving focus on, you know, commerce. And so I imagined what would happen if somebody got caught up in the machinations of companies that had become self-aware. And that was my jumping off point.
Hit us with it, Eric.
All right, let me do
Educate
a
these newbies.
little bit of setup on this one.
Okay, yeah.
Because I had to pick a segment that was long enough. My main character has been tasked by two of her bosses to do these really ridiculous, like asinine things, like taking commas out of like lots of paperwork and things like that. And at this point, she's just coming off one of these assignments in the basement where she had to go through like these folders, boxes and boxes of folders. And then she found something. And that's what my section is about. All right. It took me almost 2 weeks to finish in the basement. I found something really fucking scary in one of the folders, something I'm pretty sure I wasn't supposed to see. A memo about a new internal policy. It was in one of Gabby's folders, mixed in with a bunch of statistical reports, like she was trying to hide it or something. It reads, in future, all managerial staff of E3 or above must report any employee that exhibits aberrant behavior as outlined in internal memo number 742. Reports must be filed both digitally and physically and must only be filed by management. As such, delegation of this duty is strictly prohibited. We understand this will negatively impact managerial productivity for a short time. However, during the ongoing corporate restructuring process, it is of utmost importance that things continue to run as smoothly as possible. Therefore, all overtime will, of course, continue to be approved. Aberrant employees must or shall be processed and redistributed for use in the most recent company venture. Discussions with low-level staff in regards to aberrant status are to be avoided. In the event their status must be divulged, they are to be referred to as terminated. To assist in identifying aberrant employees more efficiently, IT has begun rolling out trace programming to all company computers that will allow upper management to better track and thus better understand the interpersonal matrices of each floor. Be sure to remind employees that only company-approved applications shall be used while on site and on duty. Thank you for your compliance during this time of transition. I stuffed the thing into my back pocket and took it with me back to my pod. First chance I got after getting back up on 7, I took it over to Gabby's office and to ask her about it. Hey, I found this weird memo in one of your folders while I was working in the basement. What the hell are they talking about with this thing? I tried to sound casual, leaning on her door jamb, waving the crumpled memo at her. Gabby looked up at me and froze when she saw what was in my hand. I thought they were shredding those papers, she muttered. Just don't worry about it. In fact, you should throw it out before they find you with it. Don't worry about it. Christ, Gabby, are they spying on us now? What's this stuff about aberrant employees? Shh, she'll hear you. Gabby hurried over and glanced quickly back and forth outside her doorway. She pulled me inside by the arm hard and shut the door. Ow, watch it. How'd you get in anyway? We're not supposed to have it, I asked. Gabby stood close, lowered her voice. It was mixed in with some papers Denise had me work on. I think it was a mistake. Just forget about it, okay? Fat chance. Come over to my place tonight and we'll talk about it. Gabby huffed. Look, eat lunch with me outside today and we'll talk about it. Until then, shut up. You're going to get me fired too. She made air quotes with her fingers for the final word, fired. Fine, I said. It felt like forever waiting for lunch to come. When it did, I wasted no time making my way up to the break room. I elbowed my way to the front of the line, grabbed my lunch portion from the machine, headed down to the ground floor, and then outside to the old smoker's bench. Gabby was waiting for me when I got there. Let's make this quick, she said. I have no idea what that memo means. I really don't know much more than you. I wish I'd have just shredded the damn thing myself. She started twisting her hands in her lap. She kept looking over her shoulder at the front door. Then why are you so scared? You really think they'd fire you over a memo? I said, sitting down next to her. I honestly don't know what they'd do, she said loudly and looked over her shoulder again. Look, I don't know what's going on around here, but if I had to guess, I bet it's something to do with what happened at Onomato and Illiterati. Between all the strange things they have us doing and what happened to Bill. Wait, they're making you do that shit too? It's not just me? No, it's not just you. I spent the better part of this week refiling the same thing 8 times. They find something arbitrary for me to change every time they hand it back. Yes, exactly. I thought Denise was just mad about me and Bill. Well, I didn't sleep with him, so I doubt that's it. Good point. So just forget you saw that memo, okay? Just do what I've been doing. Keep your head down and your work product up. She got up to leave. And don't follow me back in there right away. I don't want them seeing us come in together. Why didn't you shred it yourself? I asked. Gabby just stared at me for a second and then walked away. Come on, Gab, why? She looked over her shoulder. I guess because for a while I felt like a lot like a frog in a hot pot of water. It felt good to have something real I could hold in my hand and prove that I was right. And with that, she was gone. I ate my cold portion and stared across the broken concrete plain that was once the parking lot, wishing I could use the smoker's bench for what had been put there for. But there's no more of that on company property, which means no more of it at all, anywhere. After I finished, I waited for a few extra minutes, just in case, then headed in. I think Gab's right. I think we might be fucked. That's it.
Yay.
Beautiful work,
Amazing.
Eric.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have some comments about your voice. Carson is a bit of a simp for you, so says, gorgeous voice, so resonant.
I just want to hear you purring into my ear all
Yeah,
night.
can you give us a purr, Eric? Just a purr.
I can't.
okay.
I can't purr up.
TJ says the voice of the void. Caleb says the white James Earl Jones. Chrissy, your story is truly frightening. So lots of compliments. Yeah, lots of claps. Yeah, it does get crazier and crazier. I was never expecting the direction your story went. It was just okay. Now for more consumerism, it's time for the second giveaway. Yay, drums in chat. TJ, what is in that second swag packet?
In our second giveaway, we have, once again, a copy of Odd Jobs, 6 files from the Department of Inhuman Resources. However, this giveaway will be accompanied by The Psychographist, also by Carson.
Ooh.
Now, whoever wins this has got to be real cool with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Mind reading advisories.
So true though, God. Okay, off it goes. And I wonder like how many people in the audience have already gotten a copy, maybe. Okay, is Roth Schilling here? Schilling?
Roth?
Roth Schilling? Did I say your last name? Hello, congrats.
You're here!
Congrats. So you will be getting the second package. Again, I will be reaching out to you after the event with the email that you used to sign up, and I'll get you in touch with Inhuman Resources to get you your swag bundle. Congrats.
Beautiful.
All right, now for our third reading, JIANG, another Canadian writer. Hello. And I'm assuming do I say your name right? I feel I'm terrified of your last name.
No, you did great.
Okay. I feel like as a Canadian, you have to say I did a good job and I have to pretend to believe you. So we'll just say okay. Yeah, if you already have pre-ordered it and you got a copy, definitely, gift it to a fellow reader, or you could put it in one of those little cute libraries and just get, because obviously the more people who read it, the more people who can join the company and drink the Kool-Aid that we hand out in the break room. I mix it myself with my hands. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we do both need to apologize as well. Yeah, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, and of course, Rebecca brings up a good point. If you, when you do read this, it's not an if. When you do, it is company. It's in your company contract to read this. Please leave a review. It is amazing and it really helps authors out. You know, their egos do need boosting, and it keeps company morale up, which is important to the company because it means we don't have to give raises. So, yay. Okay, so do you want to introduce yourself to the new hires here?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I mean,
So
that's fine.
So I'm JIANG. I write sci-fi, horror, and fantasy chaotically. And the author of Lincoln, and I am I, and I have a book coming out next year titled A Palace Near the Wind. And then, so my story or my file in this anthology is titled Lips Sealed, Steep in Oil, Pores Opening Like Mouths. And it was inspired by my sister's indecision when she was trying to choose jobs between working for a nonprofit organization that was on the verge of collapse and a corporate oil company who offered her a lot of benefits to essentially sell her soul. So I will leave it to the story. You have two options. The environmental nonprofit Survive, which extended an offer with a modest hourly wage, regular 40-hour work weeks with weekends off, and 2 weeks vacation yearly, with a mission that aligned with your moral values to promote environmental friendliness and ethical waste disposal. Or X Oil Corp, which offered a far more generous salary, untaxed with free boarding and catering, and the promise of early retirement in exchange for ungodly hours of work, 12-hour days nonstop without vacation or weekends off for a decade. But selling your morality means being able to retire at 34 with the climbing ladder payment starting at 45 an hour, concluding at 65 an hour in your final year. You will still be working as a waste disposal engineer, though you know the position affects the damage caused by the company little, and the funding will not be as generous as Survive's. Then you'll be free. Then you can dedicate your life to hopefully reversing the damage you do working for X Oil Corp. Or perhaps, ambitious and unlikely, you can change the organization from the inside, show them the merits of an environmental approach. At least, that is what you tell yourself. A Greek pricks your scalp between strands of hair, reminding you that these are only excuses you're giving yourself so you'll feel less guilty. Certainly, you will regret soon tether you like an anchor to X Oil Corp, but that was something for your future self to deal with. 10 years doesn't seem like a long time, but on the plane, then train, then bus that takes you to the camp in which you will reside by the oil sand, in a block-like building that isn't so dissimilar to a prison, you realize just how long it's going to be. Day 0. The air's thin, smoke-filled, waste-mixed, and underlying it all is a scent of chemical burning. You can't tell whether your nose is being seared by the second or if it's simply too dry. Perhaps both. Upon arrival inside the camp, you lug behind you a single suitcase with every article of clothing you own and a backpack strapped to one shoulder stuffed with only necessities. Your phone, a fidget spinner for your anxiety, a photo of you and your sister, Pokemon themed, taken at a half-functional photo booth with the ink smeared at the edges, and a bottle that reminds you when you need to drink water. Security took your phone for several minutes before returning it to you with its backing replaced. To prevent data breach, they explained. The walls and floors are the same in every hallway, and the layout of the rooms are almost all the same. Bleak gray beneath your feet, white walls box you in, the artificial ceiling lights dangling above your head glares. In the air, seeped into the walls is a scent of waste with a metallic tang and unidentifiable chemicals that surely should not exist and are certainly unsafe for unfiltered human noses. But it's still better here than out there. The camp being windowless isn't something you expected, but they had what's called sun time during lunch hour, where the usually opaque dome cafeteria ceiling cracks open. Though it means breathing low quality air, many long-term workers say it's worth it. Your sister would not last a day here, although you didn't think you would either when the offer first came in. You'll check up on Dee tonight. I'll stop there.
Yay, amazing. We had some comments
Incredible.
like how their favorite thing is how you use speculative elements to investigate personhood and identity as well as real life moral implications. Also, Caleb says, I feel like your story is that of so many corporate folk, which is so true. Oh, I forgot to mention, I is actually the head of the green initiative at the company. We don't actually do anything she suggests. We need it on paper. So thank you. Always such a good job. Always such a good job. And for our next reading, we have Caleb Stevens, the now demoted. He used to be in charge of the Zaddy department, but now has been demoted to just a regular dad, unfortunately, Caleb. But that's what you get for being late to first hire orientation.
I
don't
feel
know how
like
I'm
I
gonna
could.
recover from that.
I feel like I
Mhm.
find like a sexy picture of you posing next to like a barbecue or something as like a
Yeah.
centerfold.
It's just like an
Yeah.
apron.
Yeah. Oh, please. In my DMs now, sir.
I'll do it
Yeah.
for you, Carson. If I
Hell
can
yeah,
rub,
brother.
if I can rub your beard.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, man.
So, Caleb, do you want to introduce yourself and a little bit, a little bit about your writing career?
Yes, I am Caleb Stevens, and I have quite a few short stories. Started out writing a novel without like knowing how to do it, and spent 5 years, and of course that went in the trash, you know. So there's much more effective ways to start a writing career. But then I got to meet a lot of good people on Discord, and started writing short stories, and that was a lot of fun. And I have a couple books out: The Girls in the Cabin, which is like a psychological thriller with horror elements, and then Feeders, which is definitely a horror thriller. And then I have a new psychological thriller dropping in November called If You Lie, about cults and a yacht. So
Perfect. And what's the title of your story? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
yes, Future Portraits of the Unhappy Dead. And I wish I was brilliant enough to have come up with that, but Carson said that my title sucked, and then he gave me that title, and I was like, it's perfect, so I'm gonna
That
use it. So
honestly sounds like Carson. The amount of
that's
times
pretty
he's
much.
told me whatever I've written has sucked, you know?
I just suck at titles sometimes, and they're so hard. But no, it fit it so perfectly. And having worked in corporate America for like pretty much my entire life, 20 plus years now, in accounting, on top of that, this whole theme was right up my alley, because I am definitely at a point where I'm burned out, and living that corporate life is slowly killing my soul. So trying to find a way out at some point here. But that's really what inspired me to just write a story about your stereotypical employee with the micromanager boss to an extent, and horrible things that can happen in the corporate world. So that's
Yeah.
kind of it.
Hit us with that reading.
All right. I should mention also that this is my first novella, so good spot to drop a novella. Okay. I drifted down the sidewalk toward the Royal Court shopping plaza in my merciless 9 to 5 shift as a cell phone and computer repairman. 8 long hours spent staring through TechZone's tinted windows at a strip mall like any other in Oakville, Texas. Population 13,059. Faded and dull and ribboned with cracks, fantasizing about a life that would never come. About a better life that would never come. Sleep clung to me like glue, hung in the corners of my eyes as I finished my Red Bull and rounded Lincoln Avenue onto Wilson Lane. The last stretch of my 6-block commute always took courage. One look at the Royal Court and its endless stretch of asphalt sadness made me want to keep walking until my feet disintegrated. The fact that I was still here in Oakville 26 years after my birth was a testament to my vapid, meaningless life. Where most of the people I knew had left long ago and made something of themselves, I'd stayed. And stayed and stayed. Overweight and frequently out of breath, a stunted man boy who leased an apartment that held a single couch, a sometimes functional toaster, and a few cracked dishes. Me, RJ, Ronald Jones Hart, associate technician at Tech Zone for life. Yay. Besides football games attended by a feverish boarding on fanatical fan base for the local high school football team, nothing much ever happened in Oakfield, which was why I was surprised to see a pair of police cruisers parked in front of Pete's Hardware as it came into view. Pete himself stood near the curb, shaking his head as two cops dragged his employee, Lyle Brooks, from the store. Blood splotched his shirt and jeans. A string of spit swayed from Lyle's chin like egg yolk. He stared at me as I neared. No, stared through me, with eyes that were empty and dazed, like someone had just stunned him with a cattle prod. By the time I made it past him and into Tech Zone, I'd grown damp with sweat, which turned to ice as soon as I opened the door. As usual, my manager, Avery Carter, paid me no mind, just stood there looking effortlessly beautiful like she'd fallen off the cover of Cosmo, while she watched Lyle's arrest through the window. I can't believe it, she said. Wasn't he just in here yesterday? What happened? The question rolled out of my mouth before I could stop it. I already knew the answer. I just needed her to confirm it. She glanced at me and ran a hand through her sandy blonde hair, a motion that would normally have me swooning, but now only left me chilled. They're saying he killed his wife or something, that he strangled her to death. The words plowed into me like a Mack truck. I nearly vomited as ribbons of heat flooded my brain. I saw her then, tied up like a slab of meat in Lyle's basement, staring up at me from the picture on his phone. Saw those fist-blackened eyes and lips glossed in blood. Sarah, who had pleaded for help from someone, anyone, me, before Lyle had silenced her forever. The image flickered and flashed. Glowworms danced through my vision. When I toppled, I swear it felt like I was outside myself, watching Avery rush across the tiled floor with her arms outstretched, but nowhere close enough to break my fall. You wouldn't believe the things you see when you repair people's cell phones for a living. Besides all the dick pics, and there are way too many dick pics, there's a lot of weird shit people like to memorialize. Like just the other day, this bodybuilder dropped off a phone full of pictures of him sitting in an oversized high chair wearing nothing but a diaper and bonnet while aggressively sucking on a pacifier. Photo after photo of him smearing baby food all over his face and chest. A video of him shitting his diaper, doing the goo goo gaga thing, I kid you not, while whoever was running the camera told him he was such a naughty, naughty boy. Look, I try not to rifle through people's personal lives, I really do, but sometimes my urges get the better of me. I'm a pervert, a voyeur, depraved, debauched. Whatever you want to call me, I won't argue. I'll probably agree. It's not something I'm proud of. I don't want to be the guy in the trench coat masturbating in the bushes outside your house while your wife showers. Not that I've ever done that, but you get my point. I want to be a better person, to stop living vicariously through other people's lives and to actually start living one myself. And I had for nearly a year before Lyle waltzed through the door and dumped his phone on the counter. One look at it and I just fucking knew there would be pictures on the camera roll I'd want to see. And that's it.
Yay.
That was beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Joseph says he wouldn't have dropped that camera off if he knew that you would work there. We got some more blurbs here from Carson. Caleb always uses first person present with such skill, places you in the scene, delivers exposition, establishes character with effortless verve. Oof. TJ also says that he loved the voice in this piece. A lot of people saying that they want this to be a movie. Yeah.
I'd like that.
Yeah, where's
Okay,
all of our movie deals for Odd
I
Jobs?
know.
Yeah.
Don't you have one coming, Carson, pretty soon?
Not for Odd Jobs, but yeah, I mean,
Soon,
I
soon.
am kind of famous. Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my God, Carson,
No.
famous winner.
don't you have one though,
Uh,
Caleb?
It's stuck on eternal rotation in Hollywood, so
Oh hell yeah,
who knows, man.
perfect.
Now, before the last giveaway, I'm still keeping everyone hostage in new hire orientation. We have one last employee, Ivy Grimes, head of the corporate library, which no one's allowed to enter because knowledge should not be a power tool used by employees, so don't go in there. So Ivy, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure, I would love to have a job running a library that no one ever went to. That would be the best job.
Yeah, imagine.
Um,
We keep you safe in there.
I
Ivy,
know.
don't worry.
Thank you. Okay, I'm Ivy Grimes. I wrote this intro down so I could read it out loud.
Hell yeah.
I
we
write
love a
weird
prepared
fiction.
employee. Yeah.
Thank you. I write weird fiction, I think. I am not reading my story tonight because I have never done a reading before, and I am afraid of doing so. But I am happy to be here. And that's my intro.
Nice. And can you tell us your story's title and a little bit about what inspired it?
Yes, my story's title is Rags to Riches. It was inspired by, let's see. Already wrote a story that took place in a sort of a bookstore that's like in purgatory, and it's an air guide. I posted the link.
Thank you.
Yes. So I sort of came up with the idea for the story there, and then I wrote something longer about it. That's what happened.
There you go. So some
Yes.
comments here. Caleb says you have to be one of his favorite new writers he's discovered, and your stories are incredible. Arwen
True.
says Glass Stories fucks. Emma says Glass Stories is incredible. Everyone needs to read it. And Christy says your story is very distinctive and similar to some of the stories in your recent collection, Glass Stories. Check that out too. So definitely, oh, we have another Carson blurb here. Ivy writes some of the best absurdist weird fiction in the game. Everything she writes is a must read for him. So if you want to even read it, you got to obviously buy the book. Ivy, the queen of hooks, you know, she won't read for you. She'll just tantalize you. And that's what the corporation is really about. All right, so we're gonna have our last giveaway. Inhuman Resources, TJ Price. What's in the big bundle we have here?
Big bundle, the bonanza, if you will. We have, again, a copy of Oddjob 6 Files from the Department of Inhuman Resources, as well as a copy of The Disappearance of Tom Nero by some guy. And we also have, that's what I call horror, a anthology that is based in 90s nostalgia, also including some stories by authors present in this meeting this evening, as well as Collage Macabre, an exhibition of art horror, which also includes some of the authors that are in this meeting with us.
So a whole lot of books. But before we do have Christy Nogel in chat. She's one of the authors and has gotten a Carson blurb, so I'll go ahead and read that. Christy deserves some love. I constantly look towards her as a powerful voice who can write just about everyone under the table, as well as a prime example of someone who's constantly pushing the genre forward. And Caleb is right where she keeps everyone under the table when she writes. We're all just cuddled under there now. She's got a little one of those like desk hammocks that you can all like cuddle in, you know, so we fall asleep to the clacking of her keyboard. It's very soothing, honestly. And she's obviously also an artist here. All right, so everyone hit me with those drums. And spin this wheel for the large and wonderful HR swag bag. And our winner, who I've actually met this person, Jeff Carter.
Jeff, all
Congrats,
right.
Jeff. I hope you love
Hell
books.
yeah,
I know
Jeff.
you do because you have a podcast. Congrats, Jeff. Also a writer himself. Good. I'm glad you like books. It'd be weird to have a podcast about horror books and like absolutely hate them. But now we do have the Q&A. I know we're a little over time, but only a little bit. And really, the company time is slightly different than real life time. So do we have any Q&A for the authors? If you want to ask Christy any questions too, that's absolutely fine. She doesn't get to escape it by being in the audience. So I will kick it off and ask, what is everyone working on right now? And I'll start with Eric.
Let's see. Right now I just was discussing with Carson earlier. I'm thinking of starting a novel later on this year. So I'm going to do some prep for that and read some books I haven't read before about haunted houses and trying to write something, anything, since I haven't written anything this year. So I'm on a bit of a slump.
I know that pain though. You'll get on it again.
That's about it.
And then Carson's brother will tell you that he's proud of you. And that's really the best that you can do, honestly.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah. What are you working on?
Oh, something like Cloud Atlas times haunted houses is what I'm working on. Yes.
Stop it.
I'm very
Wow.
I'm very excited. Very excited.
Oh.
On it. want it right now.
Ivy, what are you working on?
Also working on nothing right now, but I expect to be at some point.
Perfect. It's good to take breaks, refill that well or whatever the corporate speak is.
Yeah.
Caleb?
Just getting this book launched and then trying to jump into another novel after that, and another short story coming out in another cult anthology. So all the cults lately.
Carson?
I have a couple books that are just done in the bank that I'm kind of waiting for the right place to send to. But otherwise, right now, I am like balls deep into a novel about uh a bear detective, detective that is a brown bear, solving the murder of a social worker advocate, to get brown bears out of policing. In this world, this is quite common to have bear policemen. So I'm working on that right now. I'm about 58,000 words in.
Does this character of yours, does he have a right to bear arms?
He does. He does.
Okay.
Sounds like a
Disgusting.
grisly business.
TJ, how about you?
Oh God, what am I not working on? I'm working on putting together an anthology that will explore liminal spaces, hopefully to release later this year, also including some of the authors involved in this meeting. I'm also working on helping Emma Murray put together her first short story collection, which will be called The Drowning Machine and Other Obsessions, out from Undertaker Books in February of next year. And when I tell
Hell
you
yeah.
I'm not ready for this collection, you're not ready for this collection. You really aren't. It's gonna like you're gonna. I don't even know. I can't wait to see what the world thinks of this collection. It is.
Is
gonna
there
be-
blood?
Is there what?
Is there blood?
Carson, you will be very pleased when you read
Okay.
this collection. Let me put it
Nice.
that way. I'm also working on putting together our own ERIK McHATTON's short story collection, which will be called Straw World and Other Echoes from the Void. I have a manuscript of poetry that I'm trying to find a home for. I have a possible continuation slash sequel to The Disappearance of Tom Nero happening inside of my brain. And at some point I'll sleep.
Maybe.
I don't think you're busy
If-
enough.
If your PTO is approved.
It's true.
Joseph Thomas wants to know, anyone got any real life work horror stories that made its way as an inspiration into your story in this collection? We'll start with Caleb.
So not one of my own, but I have a buddy who I kind of work with plots on, and PLM knows him, CP Dunphy, Charles.
Mhm.
But there's a section in my novella where there's an elder abuse scene, and he said that his grandmother was literally a serial killer, and she was a hospice worker, and she would take care of folks. Like I don't really know how hospice works, but I guess she'd take care of folks in like her home, right? And apparently an elder gentleman pissed on her rug and wound up dying the next morning. And I guess when the cops came over, she was wearing his watch and with the dead body right there. And
Ooh.
someone asked her, like, why do you have that on? And she said, well, that's the least I can do after you ruined my rug. So that was a pretty big inspiration.
Carson?
Yeah, it was just kind of what I talked about earlier, is the pandemic and shit, and kind of being a essential worker during that. That was kind of the big drive for my work, or for my story. I did not actually have an experience hauling out boneless bodies that were killed by a light pandemic, but I just plucked that shit from the void.
Fair. Ivy?
Well, I was thinking, I mean, I've never worked in a bookstore, sadly, but in a way, I think I was inspired by maybe the publishing community and maybe like small press publishing. So look out for that.
Ooh, spicy. TJ, you kind of gave us a corporate story already. So
Well, I've never worked for oil sands, but I guess this is a minor spoiler. But part of it where the narrator like doesn't get to sleep eventually, essentially, was inspired by my time as a ghostwriter, where sometimes I would go like 60 hours without sleep just doing work and just not knowing what day or time it is anymore.
That's fair. I'll share one of mine. I was working at this company as part of this team, and we were in a meeting, and my manager wanted to set up the projector, and it wasn't plugged in, and she looked at the cord and it was frayed and all the wires were sticking out, and she was like, "Oh, I can't touch this. Like, we should call like this IT guy in." And people were like, "Oh, he might get shocked," and she literally went. She was like, "Oh, well, he doesn't have kids and we all do, so it doesn't matter." And I was like, okay, because I'm a child-free person. Like, I didn't have kids either, so I was like, so my life is worth less. That's cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, Eric did apply for PTO and it was company approved. So that's why he left early. He did have that approved. So
Yes, he's taking a vacation to the void.
yes, to the void. So yeah, I have worked a lot of corporate jobs, so I do feel like I have a lot of horror stories, unfortunately. Which
Wow,
is
you
why
would
a
have
lot.
been a great invite, huh? For this.
What? Yeah,
You would have been
I
a
know.
great invite.
Well, I actually enjoyed just reading it. It was very cathartic. I write a lot of corporate horror and a lot of my space horror stuff because I always have like the one company and like a lot of corporate greed. So yeah. And I know we're a little over time, so I know it was a short Q&A, but I'm going to post all the links. So if you're not following all the authors here yet, you definitely should, as well as Christy Nogle. Make sure you follow everyone. If you didn't win, if you weren't one of the lucky winners, it is within your company contract to order a copy. The pre-order link is there. And to leave a review, it's just legal stuff. You have to do it. And thank you everyone for coming out tonight to celebrate these wonderful employees, one of which was demoted, the other one which will likely be put through some processing, TJ Price. And I really appreciate everyone for letting me host your event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Plim.
Oh, of course, it's in my contract as well. And so if you want to listen to these readings again, it will definitely be up on my YouTube channel, and I will be reaching out to the winners via email after the event. So keep an eye out on your inbox. I'll put you in touch with TJ Price to get you your prizes. And thank you so much for coming out and celebrating these authors and this new book that's coming out tomorrow. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Remember, show up 7 a.m. tomorrow at the corporate office. Don't be late.
I'm already there. I've
I
never
know.
left.
I know. That's how you stay on time.